Good morning, everybody. I'm about to do this. And good morning. How you doing, Sugar?
It is a good morning. It is. As the radio says, you've made it to Friday. And
yeah.
It's like, oh, have I?
Yes, indeed. It's Friday. Sure enough.
So, I know this is something you could probably speak to.
Probably.
Somebody that has had... As somebody that has had hearing issues.
What was that?
Right. Why is it whenever you go say that again, and you lean in, put a hand up to the ear, they repeat what they said, but they repeat it fucking quieter instead of louder?
I don't know. Okay, so hearing loss. Oh man, I tell you what. Neil Bortz used to talk about this on the show.
You mean Rush?
I'm sorry. You're right. Rush Limbaugh used to talk about this on the show, and Rush had the heavy duty freaking cochlear implants, and I mean, like, I had some pretty substantial surgery on my ears, not to correct my hearing loss, but to arrest its rapid acceleration. And, I mean, they cut me along the back of my ears and peeled them off the side of my head to get down in there. The stuff that Rush had, buddy, they drill holes in your skull and screw steel bolts in that are connected to a magnetic connection system. And the corrective devices that we have for hearing loss now, I mean, you know, that little pair of hearing aids right there, which are still on apparently. See if I can make that stop. That little pair of hearing aids right there, you know, if you got to buy those out of pocket, that's $8-10 grand. The thing about hearing loss as a disability is it's invisible, and most of us that have to deal with it, you know, there's not a signal, right? I'm not missing my legs. You don't look at me and say, "Oh, I wonder if that guy needs some help," right? And I lost my hearing, so I don't sound like somebody who was born deaf and had to try and, right? Because I wasn't born deaf, I lost my hearing over time. So there's no external signal. And I think the reason that people do that is once they realize they're dealing with somebody who has a disability, they're afraid to offend. I'm like, no, please, just say it louder. Just speak up, please. I promise. Unless you're saying something offensive, and hey, good luck trying to offend this guy. I just need to know what you're saying. I need the communication. In my house we have a bit of a joke about it. You know, the wife will say something to me, and if I don't hear what she said, I don't ask her to repeat it. I just look at her and I say, I love you too, baby. That's it. But as far as man,
it's just a thing I have observed, because there has been a lot of extra noise at work lately because one of the air conditioners keeps going out.
Oh dear.
Yes. So we have giant, like,
and it's not just hot outside.
Yeah, right.
You have extra hot inside.
That's right. Yes. And we have giant, like, bought them from Tractor Supply fans in there in order to at least make the hot air move around.
Are they big ass fans?
Yes.
Are they actually big ass fans?
Yes, they're big fans. But
no. I mean the brand. Are they big ass fans?
Oh,
that is the name of the company.
Oh, I don't know. Anyhow, but they're loud and they create a lot of noise, and somebody will say something, and it's yeah, I'm here for. Oh, hey, can you say that again? Yeah, I'm here for. No, louder, not quieter. God, it just makes me angry just thinking about it. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, this is what I meant. I meant, are they big ass fans? BigAssFans.com. The logo is a donkey with a giant butt pointed at you, right? And I believe this company's based out of Atlanta. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite toothpaste box stories. The company was suffering. Their sales weren't going great. They brought in a marketing expert, and he had them change their name from like something like Industrial Air Circulation Systems of Georgia to Big Ass Fans, and sales skyrocketed. It's one of my favorite companies just on that story. So anyway, Pitt Danny says he's got a big ass fan. You know what? My new goal in life is to get Big Ass Fans as a sponsor of the Brushfire Mind. So let's say good morning to some people, and then let's do some DGUs. And actually, we're going to start with this. The first one's not a DGU; it's a little something special, but. Fish and Golf is with us. I see the Fit Life with Danny. Good morning. Good morning. Uncle Steve is here. I see the other Danny, and Trish is with us. GCM is with us. Ben called me on my way home from work last night. We had a good long conversation. Guys, Ben and I have been trying to get on the same page to do something with our two channels together for a little while now, but it's tricky because we're both busy as a squirrel trying to shed a pineapple. I see the Sergeant Major's with us, and Unverified Bear made it this morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The remainder of the day to you, sir.
So he's going to have a pint instead of
enjoy
coffee. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
And apparently it's 5 o'clock where Bear is.
Is it though?
Or near enough as makes no difference. No, it's
aren't they like 6 hours? It's 6 hours plus to us.
Something like that.
So it'd be like 1 o'clock there, 2 o'clock, something like that. Anyhow,
so we've got this story, and this is one that Alex and Danny covered on their show Monday evening, and this is not a DGU. There is a gun involved, but we got a murder-suicide story here. And what I want to talk about is not particularly the murder-suicide itself, although that's certainly a part of it. But the headline reads, "Man allegedly shot and killed his pregnant transgender boyfriend and then himself in murder-suicide." And guys, for all I know, they could both be women, but it's 100% certain, because there's a pregnancy involved, that this man murdered a woman. And the story seems to want to focus on the murder of the boyfriend. And Pet Danny says, so 3 died. Yes, you have 3 dead here. And okay, so the killer committed suicide on the scene. You got a murder suicide. So we don't need to have a conversation about how justice should be served here. But the story speaks to us of a major issue. The transgender thing is, oh, good morning, Penelope. Is Reagan also watching, Sergeant Major? So
be careful what you say.
One of my daughters is watching. So the gender dysphoria thing, this is a serious mental illness. And the facts are these. The highest rate of domestic abuse occurs in same-sex female couples, cohabitating female couples, right? Lesbians have the highest rate of domestic abuse across all demographics. This is not merely one guy losing his mind, one guy going off the deep end, had too much of something. No. Incidents like these will rise and continue to do so precisely because what is happening is not that the world is becoming more tolerant of people making different choices. What is happening is the world is taking less corrective action to offer assistance and care to people with serious mental illness. The transgender community suicide rate is higher than that of Jews in concentration camps. It is higher than that of African slaves in the chattel trade. It is higher than any other demographic quadrant ever recorded. And instead of treating the mental illness that has the near half suicide, nearly a coin flip of a suicide rate at 40-something%, instead of treating serious mental illness, it's not just being ignored, it's being encouraged. And Xander Mack is making a comment here, and this is part of why I wanted to cover this story as well. He says, my problem with the story is that I couldn't even take it seriously because of the ridiculous premise. It was a joke to me when it shouldn't be, and they brought it on themselves. And the Fit Life with Danny says, this isn't a same-sex couple, it's a man who beat a woman's ass and then killed her and her baby. So, fair play there. We've seen very clearly that men are better at being women than women are. That's what the media is explaining to us now. Men are better at womaning than women are. That's why they're whooping ass at all the women's sports. The extent of the expanse of this mental illness problem, we got mom and dad are at the farm, right? We're down in Milledgeville, near the old nut house. Guys, something needs to be done. And while it may be true that there were problems with the mental health system when it included the asylums like that, it seems to me like we've traded one problem for another problem. And the problem that we've traded away, so yes, the system should treat people well to the greatest extent possible with respect and try and, help and treat the mental illness without getting into bizarre medical experimentation, right? I'm not looking for lobotomies and trepanning tools, right? But when there was a problem in the asylums, the inmates were not killing people out in the rest of the world. The abolition of essentially the mental health state was akin to the complete abolition of the prison system and the immediate unconditional release of all inmates. because you took a group of people who were categorically a threat to the broader society, and you put them back out into the world free. Buddy, I will stand on the Constitution and my rights all day. But there is such a thing as a person who is a threat. And failure to identify an individual problem is itself a threat. Now, that's not to say that that threat is malicious, but to fail to identify a threat, right? Not noticing the wall that you're about to turn into at 60 miles an hour, that wall is a threat. You failing to notice that threat and take appropriate action does not make the wall a malicious entity. But ignoring the threat does not make it safer. So what we're looking at with the transgender issue here is that instead of just ignoring the problem, we have whole political classes dedicated to actively promoting, expanding, and exacerbating the problem intentionally. So that's why I wanted to touch on this one, because I agreed with Alex as far as it's hard to take the article seriously, and it seems like a joke, and you want to crack jokes about it because the headline is so ridiculous. Pregnant boyfriend. No, you didn't. That is a lie. And I'm going to get philosophical for just a second on that. The kind of lefty position on that whole thing is that reality is entirely subjective. It's false. There is no your truth. There is the truth. When your truth, when your perception of reality does not align with reality, and you act on your false perception, you cannot help but do damage to the objective world. I've spent a little longer on this than I intended to, and I apologize for that. And I honestly did not intend for it to get quite that preachy as it did, but there's something going on that I really think we needed to cover. Alex points out they added the word transgender to the headline. I know. I noticed that. I was watching his show the other night. For context, real quick, that article, I didn't pull up a different article about the same story. Xander Mack texted me the article. So this is the same link that he showed on his show the other night. And that headline read, "Man Killed Pregnant Boyfriend," right? And they've changed the headline now to include the word transgender. That's some of that shadow editing. So, but there's that. Cameron, do you want to pick up this next one?
All that, and I can't comment on anything?
Oh, please do. I'm sorry. I had the deep supposition that you were patiently waiting for me to be done with my bullshit.
This is also true. But look, there's two things to it. Referencing a comment Xander Mack made earlier in the thread, the real threat is the people that actually believe this bullshit. I think it is a minority that believe this bullshit. I think even of them that profess to actually, in fact, believe this bullshit,
a minority of them actually do.
A minority of them actually believe this bullshit. It's sort of like the Soviet-style propaganda. It's not that you didn't know that a good bit of it was bullshit on the face of it, but it was the demoralization. It was the fact
Correct.
that you would listen to the propaganda and you wouldn't challenge the propaganda. And if necessary, you would even parrot the propaganda to others because that was your social responsibility. It's a good way to break people. It's the it's a theory in crime where where you start by smoking weed, and then you smoke lots of weed, and then you sell a little bit of weed so you can afford to smoke lots of weed. And then now at this point, you've already gone through this progression where you've broken more and more and more serious crimes. So when you make the jump to go in and say, you know what, fine, I'm going to buy a couple of pounds of weed and actually set myself up a little operation, it's no big deal because mentally you've been pushed down that hole. And so what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just accept things that are bullshit, accept things that are unhealthy for society, like, for example, pregnant boyfriend. Just a few years ago, there's no way they could have gotten away with writing that headline. But now we're going to have that headline, and then we're going to stealth edit that headline later to be like, well, transgender pregnant boyfriend means the same thing. It's total fucking horse shit. But we have to deal with it. And I'd say that it goes all the way across all of society. So, like, for example, I think the thing that really encapsulates this is oh man, look at how amazing Lizzo looks in this outfit. And it's like,
yeah, tell your wife she looks like Lizzo.
I dare you.
Lizzo's beautiful.
Yeah, I dare you. I mean, if you want to not have any, that's right. If you want to not have any happy husband and wife time for a long time, tell your wife, oh yeah, you're every bit as beautiful as Lizzo. Please wear that outfit. And that's the thing. Like, none of us are supposed to point out that the emperor has no clothes. And it's offensive to people when you do. Well, how dare you say that? Be like, look. I mean, good for Lizzo, like, living your truth and whatever, but y'all know that chick's gonna have a hard time seeing her 50th birthday, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it is what it is. So that's what that headline is.
I'm living my best life for now.
So I don't think very many people actually believe it. Just like I don't think very many people actually believe, like, oh, Lizzo just looks stunning in that dress. And no, the point is very many people are not willing to challenge it. And there are people who are willing to parrot it. And it's very sad. It gets people hurt and killed. So that's all. I just wanted to talk about propaganda and how.
Yeah. All right.
South Park.
Get you some.
Okie dokie. Well, I will, because look, I came prepared. This
Hallelujah.
Whole second cup right here.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 dead, 2 injured after shooting outside Fitness Connection beside South Park Mall. Friendly faces everywhere. Humble folks, without temptation. The owner of a stolen vehicle shot the suspected culprits, resulting in the death of one of them after tracing the car to a parking lot outside South Park Mall on Thursday afternoon, according to the San Antonio Police Department.
Respect my authority.
Wow. Okay, so this is going someplace interesting. SAPD Chief William McManus stated that the alleged thief fired the first shots after being ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint by the owner while waiting for the police to arrive. The owner was struck before firing back in response. According to McManus, certainly it appears to be a case of self-defense. Well, we'll circle back to that. He further added, we would prefer that they call the police before taking matters into their own hands. But he did what he felt he needed to do. Another passenger who was inside the car when the owner caught up to them is in critical condition after being shot. Both the injured passenger and the vehicle owner were transported to a local hospital for medical attention. The investigation is still ongoing, and as of now, it remains uncertain whether any charges will be filed, according to the police chief. Following the incident, a large number of officers responded to the scene in the parking lot on the south end of the mall just before 1 p.m. Okay, so obviously what happened here? Bad guys.
Hold on a minute. Let me stated that the alleged thief fired the first shots after being ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint by the owner. Okay, after tracing the car to a parking lot outside South Park Mall.
No, look, I'm getting there. I'm about to break this down.
Okay, no. This is the thing that I wanted to clarify, that I wanted to make sure that I was clear on. Okay, so the car had been stolen.
That's right.
The thief had taken the car and moved it from point A to point B. Because, okay, I just walked out and my car hasn't moved anywhere and there's somebody in it about to or attempting to steal it, and the car has already been stolen, and I've hunted this guy down because I'm Dog the Bounty Hunter. Are two very different stories.
Yes,
that's what I wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I was clear on what happened there.
Yes, that's what appears to have happened here. Is that the car was stolen? The owner tracked the car down and attempted to perform a citizen's arrest. I don't think. Okay, there's some layers to this.
So I would be curious to know if he called the police beforehand, because I've had property stolen, called the police, reported not just that the property was stolen, but who had it and where it had gone, and where it was at the time. It was an iPad. In particular, I had this with an iPad. I was able to tell the officers who the person was, what her home address was, where she was with the iPad, and provide receipts to say this is my property, and they would not intercede at all. My only option, and I just bought another iPad, but my only option to actually recover my stolen property would have been to do it myself, and the law frowns on, citizens enjoying justice or protection under the law. I'm good.
Okay, so super long story short, it appears as though this guy tracked his own car down and tried to get it back. So, there you go. Now, is this wise? Probably not. Do I have a serious problem with it? Also, probably not. Do we move into a weird area of self-defense? Obviously not in a legal case, obviously not in a legal sense, because this is in Texas. But in kind of a broader philosophical sense, if I chase you down, like if I track you down and chase you down, and you have clearly moved away from the scene of the crime, we're not in a hot pursuit situation, anything like that, because the article implies that the crime was committed and completed, and then at some point later the car was tracked down, which is not hard to do with today's technology. But just the same, don't steal cars. But there's a lot of layers to this one. Like the police, what the police are really saying is, hey, please don't do this. Like, so that's, and then Xandermack says, sounds like he got it back.
Right. And Xandermack also said, if you wait for the police to get your property back. So Cameron's not wrong. What the police are really saying here is, please don't do this. I think I'd push that a step further, though. What the police are really saying, if recent history is any evidence, as we watch them just stand down and let BLM happen, the police would prefer that you not do their jobs for them, because the police would prefer that their job not be done at all. So.
And then one other thing that could probably get injected into this real quick. Xandermack says, of course, if he had insurance on the car, he'd probably let that handle it. I can't tell if it's some of that dry British humor or not. But the problem with that is, like, I have insurance on my car. And if you hit me and total my car, I'm going to get a check for the value of my car. Now, you know what I'd rather just
I'm
have?
not likely to get another car with the check that I got for the value of my car.
And that's the thing. You know what I'd rather just have? My car.
My car.
Yeah,
Our buddy Shay says that best. He said, "Man, that's a good truck you got, Chris. It's worth more than it's worth."
See, and that's...
It's worth more than it's worth. And it really is.
See, and I'm careful to do things like, you know how like when you take your car in and they say, hey, you know, maybe you should get your X, Y, and Z serviced. I go, oh, yeah, you know what? Let me go ahead and schedule that. Because, and I bet that same buddy Shay would tell you, that's like, hey, when they say change fluid A, B, and C,
do it.
do it. Your car will last another 100,000 miles on average if you do. And so I'm really careful about doing that kind of thing. Like the whole thing with like, oh yeah, I don't know when the last time I had an oil change was.
Yeah.
I don't. No. You know that little sticker?
No. I know that.
You know that little sticker they put on the corner of your car?
It's there for a reason.
I don't actually need that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really that hard. Like, I can look at my odometer and I can say, hey, let's just use round numbers. And depending on the type of oil you get, it's like, oh, I can add 3,000 to that. Yeah. I can add 5,000 to that. But the point is saying, oh, okay, your car was stolen, but insurance will take care of it. Yeah, that's great. That's like saying, oh, well, if the rioters burn your business down, insurance will take care of it. Oh, that's great. That's why I have insurance. But I still don't want the fucking business to burn down. I'd still rather there weren't rioters.
Okay, Xander, okay. I thought we were done with that story. Xander Mack, I'm going to actually offer you guys some tactical advice here. Xander Mack says, yeah, he may have lost some money through insurance, but he also got shot, and we don't know where he got shot or what the damage is for the rest of his life. And you certainly don't know where you will get shot trying to recover your own car. So let me throw this at you. Let's assume for a moment that your car's been stolen. You've got an air tag or something of the sort, LoJack, to track it down. You can figure out where it is. You've called the police and asked them to recover your stolen vehicle, and they have refused to offer you any assistance, which we've seen is something the police are bad about, right? You know, Summer of Love, the Ahmaud Arbery case. The police don't like to do their job, right? So you've called, you've done everything that you're supposed to do. If you haven't done this already, I implore you to get it done before your car is stolen. Put a dash cam in your car. Put an air tag in your car. And make an extra key, make a spare backup key that will start your car. Because if you can figure out where it is and the police won't do anything, you can go to where it is and just get in and drive away. What's the thief going to do? Call the police? And if he does, what are they going to do? Arrest you for driving your car? See, there was a comment earlier, I think Pitt Danny made it or somebody made it, about stealing, or steal it back. So you can't, it does not matter who has it, unless the government has locked it up in a secure facility, like when they take your property away as evidence. You cannot steal your property.
You can only recover your property.
So if you just go and get in the car and drive it away, good to go. And Xander Mack, I agree 100% with that. Be sure to round up three of your well-trained buddies. Yes, it would behoove you to maybe convoy over there in 4 or 5 pickup trucks with a bunch of old dudes that just haven't killed nobody in 10 or 15 years and got that tick.
You know,
guys, y'all just watch me while I go get my truck.
You know, this is, I think this goes back to one of the fundamental differences between people's attitudes toward Kyle Rittenhouse. The more that I think about that situation, the more that I think that not only was Kyle Rittenhouse correct in his choices, but I think if just a handful of more citizens were willing to engage in Kyle Rittenhouse style activities, there'd be a shitload less riots that happen. Because if you're going to do things where you destroy people's lives, like arson is a felony for a reason. And it's a pretty serious felony for, you can get a shocking amount of prison time for arson. And then
arson is the other one.
And then what happens? And then what happens is we say, oh, well, man, you know, it's what Kyle Rittenhouse did was self-defense, but it was really, man, it just wasn't smart for him to be there. And it's like, was it really though? Was it really not smart for Kyle Rittenhouse to be there? Or have we gone through decades and decades now of the lie that violence is never the answer? You should always try and find a peaceful solution. Well, wait a minute. Violence is never the answer, and you should always try and find a peaceful solution. Those are not the same statement.
Correct. Napoleon Bonaparte, Ultima Ratio Regum, stamped on all of his cannonade, the last argument of kings. It's not the first answer, but it is an answer. And sometimes it is both the correct and the ultimate answer.
So the point that I'm making is it the wisest course of action to maybe go try and recover your own vehicle? No. But in the real world, I suspect your reasons for keeping the same truck for years and just making sure that it's well maintained are the same reasons I have the car that I have, and I make sure that it's well maintained, except for the bumper that fell off, but it's cosmetic. I can't. I'm okay with that. I need it to work because, you know, my life is what it is. If I could just afford to wait on insurance, well, that'd be great, but that's not the life I live.
Right.
I can't afford to be without the vehicle for an extended period of time, even if it's just 3 or 4 days. Well, that's 3 or 4 days. I don't go to work. That's 3 or 4 days where anything that I need to handle, I can't handle. With my paid-off vehicle that gets really good gas mileage that I've worked really hard to maintain, you're going to steal that from me and potentially ruin my life? And I hear you, everybody that's like, well, you know, you could just buy a new truck. You don't have to deal with a lawyer. You don't have to deal with cops. I'm not even saying that that is an unwise attitude to have, but what I am saying is if enough of us feel that way, criminals have no fear in stealing your vehicle.
Right. Alex points out everyone watches Taken and then thinks they're a badass. Then try clearing a single room by yourself and see what happens. Guys, I tell you what, that is some gospel right there. I can clear a room by myself. I've seen me do it, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. If you ain't ever been in a shoot house with a team, buddy, you do not know what that game is yet. I promise you don't. So, all right, we're 10 minutes after the hour, so we need to go ahead and wrap this one up.
Safety brief?
Indeed.
Briefly, be safe.
Be safe.
Underwear your safety, because they're briefs.
Oh. That was awful.
I thought of that pun days ago, and I've waited until Friday to drop it on the air.
Oh, Unverified says OTS much easier with a room full of choreographed stuntmen. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and when the camera can cut like 17 times for one 30-second segment.
Okay, and this is off topic from the safety brief. No, okay, Unverified with a room full of choreographed stuntmen. I'm just going to explain this real quick. You drill, you do it, you clear the room, you do it, you train with your team. When you're working with a team of professionals, they are choreographed. Like, that is part of what the training is. As you go in the room, I know what corner I'm responsible for. The guy behind me knows what corner he's responsible for. And, I mean, so what you're saying about choreographed stuntmen, it's not just funny. It is 100% gospel truth. So, be safe out there. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. And carry one,
Don't let people tell you Lizzo's pretty.
Don't do that.
You're allowed to.
Don't do that.
You're allowed to say no. I don't think so. She's mid at best. If you have a big girl fetish.
Boy, that's generous. Y'all be safe. We love you. We'll see you on Monday.